Hello and welcome to another MyEd BC video tutorial on how to do your setup for your categories in your classes. Now, I'm at Howe Sound Secondary in School District 48, and this is the way we do it at our school. So it may be different if you're looking at it from another part of British Columbia. But I do have previous videos to explain some of the choices we make, and you can check that out. So I've already previously shown a video, so if you had classes that you taught that are similar and use the same categories last year, you're better off to watch the video on how to do it with importing. If you're new to it, this is for you. This is how you get started. So I'm going to start with my Programming 10 class, and I'm going to click over here. And just quickly, I like to have course nicknames. It just shows up quite nicely, so I'm just going to call it Prog 10 to keep it nice and short, or even PR10 is probably even better, just to keep it really short, and it kind of shows up in pages and different areas in a nice little quick way. My average mode, now in another video I talked about which one to choose here. I use categories and assignments, so I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to leave it as Gradebook default. Now, my class's length, I showed this in a previous video, how to link classes so that I won't have to do this 3 different times. You want to do that ahead of time. And when we look at our categories. Now, previous video I showed how to import it, but we're starting fresh here. So I'm just going to go add, and I'm going to enter a category code. So when you're entering assignments later, you want something that's nice and short. So I got a category code of AM for assignments. And my category weight is going to be 50. And I do not drop scores, and so you could choose one of these. And I'm just going to hit save. Okay, and then I'm going to add again, and I'm going to enter a category code of SK, and I'm going to call that skills. And a category weight of 30 is what I'm going to use, and a check mark. And that added that. And right now you see it's doing the math, but I'm going to add a third one. And I'm going to say WH for work habits, and work habits, and then I'm going to say 20. And then I'm going to click on here. And so this is good if you have this ahead of time so that you know what you've done. You got your course outline, and you can kind of figure that out. Now, there are a few more details than what showed up when you first did that. So now we got to come back to these and click on AM. And so there's important details here now. So it's just the default one. And this will, so this is the one I choose, provincial marks, scales, final marks. This one doesn't really matter that much. Now here's an interesting thing that you need to consider. You can put in both a numeric number or a letter grade only. So I prefer to put in both. I can put either an A or I could put in a mark. But most people usually put in a numeric number. So that's a good chance you're choosing this one. But you got to kind of decide. I leave it as both. Now this number is really important to think, whatever category you're in. So my assignments, I kind of use a rubric all the time, and my rubric is out of 5 because it transfers nicely into doing the math if we're still expected to give a percentage. Don't use the 1 and 2 section very often. It's usually the 3, 4, or 5 that get used. So I have almost all of my assignments are out of 5. So I'm going to do 5. So when I make a new assignment, right away it's going to fill in the total points as 5. You could change it, but it just saves you a little bit of time if you can guess what you're going to use most often. Now this default weight is the assignment weight. So let's say I have an assignment out of 5 that took 1 day, I would keep it as 1. Or if I have an assignment out of 5 that took a week, I might do it times 5. But generally most of them, you leave them as 1, so I'm going to do that. If you want to give them extra credits where they can get a 6, you can put in an extra credit here. Now here, I encourage my students to use MyEd BC to check their marks, mostly to see if they've got all their assignments handed in. It's just an easy way to be organized and keep track of stuff. So I put all mine public. That's up to you whether you want it to be private or public, depending on whether your school is getting the kids to log into MyEd BC so they can see it. I put mine at public. Public, no grades. I'm assuming it shows if the assignment is in or not. I've actually never used it, so I'm not positive what it looks like on the student portal. But I have seen what it looks like on the public portal. So I'm going to use public, and then I'm going to hit save. Now I know I'm going to have to do that for skills. That's the one thing I'm going to have to change. And this one, depending on what you use in your school, but I'm going provincial marks, final marks. And I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to go to my work habits. And the most important one for me is that I got to change this. Save. Now, you got to go to the bottom and you have to still hit save to save everything. So we saved the individual pieces, but you got to make sure you save here. So you can close these things up so it closes up. And then you go back to your class list. And now what you got to do, so I did Information Technology 10, which is my programming 10, and you can see now it has the shortened version, so you're not always deciphering what these long things are. But now I can go into here and have a look. And of course my linked, because I did this earlier, are all linked. And my categories are done. The reason they're done is because they're linked. If it was a separate class, then you'd have to do it over again. And that is how you set up your categories from scratch in MyEd BC Gradebook. Thanks for watching.